Hi, welcome to live stream Yoga with Louise, tips and cues to keep you safe and strong on the mat. Today we are medium and low to the mat, toning some flesh. As always, play where you're comfortable, modify when you need to, take a rest when you need to. You ready? Let's hit the mat. We're going to begin today's class coming into either a 4-point kneel or a full plank line. Set yourself up in your 4-point kneel. Start to press the mat away, giving me a long line through the neck and the spine. Keep your gaze down on the mat between the two thumbs and step your legs back one at a time, coming into a full plank. Check that your body line is nice and parallel to the mat. Stay here or begin to play by alternating, tapping one knee to the floor and then coming back to your plank line. We're going to shoot for roughly 10 repetitions, one tap to each side, completing one set. We're at 7. Keep your core braced. 5. 3. 2 more sets to go. As you complete your last one, find your way back to your 4-point kneeling frame on the mat. We're going to find an alternating opposite arm and leg reach. Let's slide left leg, right arm all the way up into table, stopping at shoulder and hip height. Float back and change sides. Trying to keep your trunk as stable as you can. Try not to throw the two limbs up. It's more of a gentle reach for the wall in front and the wall behind, thinking length through the limbs. Stop at table height. Let's do 5. 4. 3, keep belly to spine throughout and keep your gaze down on the mat, not dropping your head as you start to fatigue. Let's shoot for 2 more sets. We're going to find our way from here into a high kneeling frame, keeping the feet stacking behind the knees. You can either keep those feet flat or you can tuck the toes under if you prefer. We're coming into the camel lean. Start with your hands relaxed to the top of your thighs. Lean your trunk just off the center line and float the arms up to shoulder height and back down 10 times. Look for that long stretch through the trunk. Last one, we're going to find our way back to our plank line, and this line we're going to double up on the knee tap. Set your line up. Step the legs back one at a time. Without smacking your knees into the mat, you're going to give me a double knee tap and back to plank. Double knee tap, plank. We're at 8. Keep that core braced. Let's do 5, 3, last one. Draw back to your 4-point kneeling position. We're going to add to that opposite arm and leg stretch. Quick demo before we start to do it together. All right, so you're going to float opposite arm and leg up into table. Then you're going to squeeze towards the midline and find your way back, finding an alternating pattern side to side. Let's start to play. Looking for a little bit of coordination at the same time today. We're at 8, Going into 7, 6, 5, 4. Keep those limbs long and reaching. 'We've got 2 more sets to go before we find our way into our high kneeling frame again. Going into our last set. Find your way into your high kneel. We're going to add to our little camel stretch. Leaning off the center line, floating the arms up, hold the lean, and then bend the elbows, tapping against an imaginary wall, and float everything back to your original start line. Let's shoot for 10. Keeping those elbows and those arms up at shoulder height when you're playing with that tap. Let's do 5. 3. 'Last one. We're going to find our way down to the mat using a fallen staff, and then we play in a prone position for a while before we change our orientation on the mat. You can either execute your fallen staff from a 4-point kneeling position, or you can move from a full plank line if you'd like to load the arms and work the core at the same time. Take a big breath in, start to bend the elbows, and peel your way down to the mat as slowly as you can. Arriving on the belly, we are going to bring it into a modified, think of it as a cactus locust. So cactus cobra, sorry, not locust. So place little cactus hands down on the mat. You're going to bend at the elbow, and you're going to have palm, forearm and elbow resting on the mat along with your forehead. You're going to keep your legs in a soft parallel line behind you, and we're going to work a dynamic chest and arm lift. And we'll sync the two together. So begin in neutral. Take a big breath in. Find that little imaginary marble underneath your nose. Start to roll it away. And as you begin to articulate up into your small chest lift, you're going to lift the arms with you, and you're going to stop just before your bottom rib disengages. Then peel everything back down. Let's lift and lower 10 times. Last one. Come down to the mat, rest on one cheek, release the neck. And then roll right onto the second cheek, release that side as well. We're coming back to our cactus cobra, and we're going to add a little squeeze through the shoulders and the elbows. I'll demo, and then we'll do it together. You're going to bleed up into your same little chest lift, floating the arms, and then you're going to squeeze the elbows and the shoulder blades towards the midline and float everything back down. Let's shoot for 10 little chest lifts with a little squeeze. float back down, give yourself a little release on either side of the neck, dropping onto one cheek, pausing there for a few soft breaths before you roll onto the second cheek and give yourself a few soft breaths there as well. Then bring your forehead back into neutral, but this time we're going to overlay stacked arms one on top of the other. And you're going to relax your forehead, not your chin, your forehead to the back of your hands. We're coming into a single leg lift, and we'll do the first set of lifts with a long extended leg line. We'll do singles, and then we'll bring it into some doubles. So let's work the left side first. Keeping your forehead connected to the back of your hands, you're going to give me a small lift and lower on the left, keeping your limb long and reaching, stretching from the hip bone to the toe, and not making the lift too high. So just hip height and down again, focusing on extension, not height. Once you've done 10 lifts on one side, change sides. Then let's double up and let's do both together. Once you've done 10 doubles, bend at the knees, and then let's just release the lower back by flopping your knees off-centered, your feet, off-centered to one side, and just start to play tick-tock style, looking for a little release through the lower back. Then relax both legs down to the mat. We're going to come back into a lifting pattern of singles, but this time we're going to do it with a bent leg. So keep your right leg long and extended, bend at the left knee so that your foot is looking up to the sky, and using that draw up along the quad, along the belly, along the hamstring and the glute, we're going to do a small knee and leg lift on the left to tap back out. Let's do 10. Keep pressing actively with your right leg and foot into the mat. Once you've done 10 on the left, we're going to change our setup frame and we'll start to play on the right. Then bend both legs and look for that little tick-tock release through the lower back before we double up and work both legs together. Once you've done a few tick-tock releases through the lower back, you're going to center a line and you're going to keep both legs bent. And you're going to give me a small leg lift on both sides. So trying to lift as much of the knee and the thigh off the mat as you can before regrounding and shooting for roughly 10 repetitions. Once you've done 10, you're going to find your little tick-tock release with the feet, flopping off the center line. Then we're going to change our orientation on the mat from here and we're going to find our way onto the side of the body, setting ourselves up low to the mat, preferably body in one long stacked line, so your shoulders, hips, knees, ankles over a line without rolling forward or rolling back. If you find it hard to stabilize as we start to move, you can give me a small bend on the bottom leg and use it to support your frame. Bottom arm is either long or bent, or you can give yourself a little prop if you like. Play where you're comfortable. We're going to start with a parallel leg line. Our start and our end position each time is with the top leg in line with your hip. You're going to give me a small lift and a squeeze down back to start. Let's shoot for 10 leg lifts. Once you've done 10, you're going to give me 10 knee draws, using that zippering up action through the lower abs to pull the knee up and then unzippering to come back to extension, shooting for 10 repetitions. Let's change it up. Let's take it into a leg pull forwards and back to start. Give yourself a little release if you need to. We're going to combine all three movements together, shooting for a total of 10 repetitions. We'll do one lift, one knee tuck, one leg pull. Lift, knee, pull. Lift, knee, pull. We're at 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, last one, as you complete the last one, start to bend your bottom leg and then start to press up, starting to bend the top leg as well, and find your way into a soft mermaid line on the mat. So you're clipping the back knee into the instep of the front leg, and you're trying to wiggle around on your bum bones until it feels like the weight is equal on both of your sits bones. You're going to take the hand that's closest to the back leg, you're going to relax it to the floor, and your working arm is going to be the other hand. You're going to relax that hand to the mat, keeping your seat and your trunk as tall as you can. You're going to give me an overhead reach and back to tap 10 times. Last one. We're going to find our mermaid wrap leading with the second leg, so change. And then we'll do exactly the same on the second side. Back hand is going to be, so hand closest to the back leg is going to be connected to the floor, and your working hand is going to be the other one. Let's shoot for 10 arcs and taps. From here, you're going to find your way onto the second side. So this should be the side, your bottom leg is going to be the leg that's currently in front. You're going to drop down onto that side. That should already set you up on the right frame. Find your stack, either both legs long and lengthened, or giving me a small bend on the bottom leg. Remember, we're starting and we're ending every time at hip height on the top leg. We'll start with a lift and squeeze for 10. Once you've done 10 lifts, we'll do 10 knee tucks, using that zippering up action to lift the knee up and then undoing the zip to bring the leg back to extension. Once you've done 10 knees, we'll do 10 leg pulls. Pulling that zip and then undoing it. Let's do one more. Then we'll start to play with that combination. So lift, bend, pull. Lift, knee, pull. Lift, knee, pull. We're at 7, 6, 5, 4, 3. Last set of 2, and then we'll find our way back into that mermaid line before we bring it into a supine position. Start to bend the bottom leg, start to bend the top one, press up, find your first mermaid line. Remember that the hand that is closest towards your back leg is going to be your anchoring hand, and the other hand is going to arc and reach for 10. Keeping a nice tall trunk. We're at 6, 4, 2, last one. Let's change sides. Find your mermaid line on the second side. Start to arc and tap for 10. Last one. From here, we're going to find our way onto the back, coming into the supine position. So lead your way onto the back. Legs are just softly relaxed, arms at your side. We're going to play with a little hollow hold, and to find the hollow hold, I want you to pretend that there's a piece of string tethered from the ceiling, and at the end of the string is a big Swiss ball. Somebody's taking a scissors and they're cutting that string, and as they cut the string, the Swiss ball starts to fall. It's going to hit your dead belly, and as it hits your belly, I want you to go oof around the ball, making a little scoop frame holding for 10. Relax back down to the mat. Give yourself a recovery breath. We're going to do that little hollow hold again, but this time we're going to find a scissoring crisscross pattern through the legs at the same time that we're holding that soft hollow hold. Ready to hollow hold in 3, 2, tilt your pelvis to 12, scoop to peel up into the U-frame, lock it in, and then start to scissor the legs for 10. Float softly back down to the mat. Give yourself a recovery breath. Coming back into just the U-hold. Ready to U-hold in 3, 2, hold for 10, 8, 6, 4, 2, relax everything down to the mat. Take recovery. We're coming back one last time, and we're going to play with those little scissor legs again. Ready to U-hold and flutter kick in 3, 2. Relax everything back down to the mat. Bend your knees, ground your feet. We're coming into some table knee draws and we'll do isolated movements first, doing a set of singles on the right and then on the left before we double up and work both legs together. As we're playing with this lift, I want you to be very cognizant of what you're doing with your body weight. So find your spinal line on the mat and make sure that the weight of both shoulders and the weight of both sacrum bones begins equal into the mat and stays equal. So I want you to try not to roll your weight to one side. Using that soft pull-up of that zip through the pelvic region towards your belly button line, we're going to draw the right knee into table, stopping when the knee is over the hip, not pulling through the table line, so using your abs to control the lift, and then undoing the zip to come back down. We're going to lift and lower 10 times on the right. No sound as your foot reconnects to the mat. Think of your body weight on the left and the right side of the spine. Last one, we're going to change sides. Last one. Give yourself a recovery breath or two. We're going to do exactly the same movement, but this time both knees drawing up together before the feet tap back out to the mat. So think of using a tiny little pelvic tilt at the same time that you're pulling up through the lower abs to pull the knees to 90, and then undo the zip and the tilt to come back down. Let's do 9. Last one. As you reground the feet, you're going to keep them grounded as we come into a 100 pattern, and we'll do the first 100, keeping feet on the mat so that we're working a little bit of recovery at the same time that we play with our 100. Starting in neutral, take a big breath into prep. On the exhale, tilt your pelvis to 12. So curling your tailbone in, imprinting your lower and your mid back. Find that slightly rounded back and a hollow belly. Peel up into a small chest lift. Lock the chest lift in. Hold your whole body still. The only thing that's going to flutter move is the arms. You're going to rapidly beat them up and down as you inhale for a count of 5 and exhale for a count of 5. So inhale 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's do 3 more. Slowly reconnect head, chest, shoulders, arms to the mat. Take a recovery breath or 2. We're coming into a double dead bug hold. So we're going to use that double knee draw that we played with a few moments ago, using a small tilt and a pull up through the lower abs to draw both legs up to 90. You're going to press and resist with both palms and hold for 10, 8, 6, 4, 2. Relax everything back down to the mat. Take recovery breaths. We're going to repeat 4 more times. Ready to tilt and press in 3, 2, 10. Keep your head and your shoulders on the mat. 5, 3. Relax everything down to the mat. Take recovery. 3 more sets to go. Ready to tilt and press in 3, 2, 10, 8, 6, 4, 2. Relax everything down. Take recovery. Last 2 sets. Ready to tilt and press in 3, 2, 10, 8, 6, 4, 2. Relax everything down. Take recovery. 1 last set to go. Ready to tilt and press in 3, 2, 10, 8, 6, 4, 2. Relax everything down. Give yourself a few recovery breaths. We're coming back into that single table knee draw, but we'll add a leg extension. So I'll demo for you and we'll play right first. You're going to use that zip through the lower pelvis up towards your belly button line to pull the leg into table. Then you're going to extend into a single leg stretch, re-bend and re-ground. We're going to shoot for 10 repetitions on the right. 10, 8, 6, 4, no sound as you re-tap. Let's do 2 more on this side and then we'll change sides. Take a breather. The whole time that you're moving and transitioning, you're finding your spine and you're keeping the weight equal on both sides of the spine. Let's play left. So table draw with a single leg extension and then a re-ground for 10. Keeping your weight equal on the left and the right side of the spine. Let's do 5, 4, 3, 2, last one. Take a few recovery breaths, and while you're recovering, take a look for the next set. We're going to do both legs in unison. So small tilt through the pelvis to 12 to pull your legs to table. Extend into a double leg stretch, and then bend to re-ground. All right, let's shoot for 10 together. 10, 8, 6, 4, 3, 2, last one. Re-ground, take recovery breath for 2. We're going to come back into our 100 pattern. So we're going to find the same hold, except this time instead of grounding the feet, we're going to try to hold them in table. And then once you've got the arms going, it all feels good, you're going to begin to bend and extend and you're going to do an echo of the double leg stretch. All right. So beginning in neutral, you're going to find your 12 o'clock tilt. You're going to imprint your lower and your mid back. You're going to scoop up into the chest lift. You're going to draw your legs into table. You're going to get your arm beat going, inhaling for 5, exhaling for 5. Once the breath and the arms are going, you're going to keep that pattern and you're going to just begin to bend and extend dynamically through the legs. Let's do 2 more. Then we'll find our way back into some dead bug play. So regrounding head, shoulders, feet to the mat. Take a recovery breath or 2. Beginning in neutral pelvis, neutral spine. You're going to use a tilt and a draw up through the lower abs to pull both legs to 90. You're going to find your press and resist hand. And then you're going to scoop up into a chest lift, press even harder and hold for 10, 8, 6, 4, 2, untilt, bring everything back down, take recovery. We're going to shoot for 4 more repetitions like that. Ready to tilt, press and scoop in 3, 2, 10, 8, 6, 4, 2, float softly back down to the mat, take recovery. We've got 3 more sets to go. Ready to tilt, press and scoop in 3, 2, 10, 8, 6, 4, 2, float everything softly back down to the mat. Take recovery. 2 more sets to go. Ready to tilt, press and scoop in 3, 2, 10, 8, 6, 4, 2. Take recovery. As we do the last set, we're going to transition straight from the last set into some dynamic rockers to bring us into a seated position on the mat. All right. Ready to tilt, press and scoop in 3, 2, press and hold, 10, 8, 6, 4, T. Hold on to the back of your thighs. Start to dynamically bring it into rocker, hollowing out your belly, rounding out your back, floating your feet, or you can reground them softly every time you come into the seated prone. You're going to give yourself roughly 6 little rocks, keeping that contraction through the abs. We're going to end in a seat. Make sure you've got enough room to fully extend the legs into a tall staff seat. Move your bum flesh out the way. Make sure that you're sitting up nice and tall with your shoulders stacking over your hips. Legs are long and extended, not floppy feet. So I want you to give me ball and heel of the foot in one nice long line as if you were pressing into an imaginary wall. And you're going to sit up as tall as you can without slouching the weight of your trunk. We're coming into a spine stretch. We'll build it up in layers before we get to the full movement. So sitting up nice and tall and pretending you've got a small basketball on your waist. Keep those feet active. You're going to take a big breath in, floating the hands overhead. You're going to hollow out over your ball, thinking cat stretch. Then you're going to drag the fingertips towards the hip line, restacking shoulders and hips in one long line. Big breath in, round out over your ball. Drag your fingers towards the body line, restack, realign. One more time, big breath in, hollow out. Drag your fingers towards the hips, restack, realign. Let's add the second portion in. Big breath in, Hollow out over your ball. This time drag your fingertips towards your toe line, starting to look for a stretch in the lower back. Keep your gaze down. Slide your fingers back towards your hip line, hollowing out before you restack and realign. Twice more like that. Big breath in, hollow out into cat. Slide your fingers forward, look for that stretch in the lower back. Then start to slide your fingers towards your hip line, hollowing out before you restack and realign shoulders over hips, spine in one long line. Big breath in. Hollow out in cat. Drag your fingertips forward, look for that stretch in the lower back. Start to slide your fingers towards your hip line, restack, realign. Let's add the third portion of the puzzle. Big breath in. Hollow out over your ball. Drag your fingertips forward, starting to stretch in the lower back. Then lift the arms off the mat, floating them alongside the ears, looking for stretch right through the mid-back towards the nape of your neck. Frame your ears on either side and look towards the corners where the wall meets the ceiling. Re-tap to the mat, hollowing out before you restack and realign as the fingertips come closer towards the hip line. Let's do that. Let's do it twice more. Big breath in, hollow out. Slide towards your foot line. Give me lift off. Stretch the whole back from lower back to neck. Re-tap to the mat, hollow out before you restack and realign. One last time. Big breath in. Round out. Slide your fingertips forward towards your foot line. Look for the lower back. Extend that stretch all the way up the line of the back. Frame your ears. Tap out to the mat. Restack, realign. Sitting up nice and tall with our legs long and extended is where we're going to end our flesh practice for today. Bringing your hands together in gratitude. Thank you so much for coming out and joining me today. I do hope that you enjoyed today's practice. Till next time, keep it light.